Okay, we are excited to share a strategy that Tracy, our LEAP client relationship manager, often suggests to families, and we just want to make sure everybody's aware of it. So, I'm Lisa Marker Robbins. I am the founder and the CEO of LEAP, and this is Tracy Eads. She is our client relationship manager who helps families solve all things about testing timelines and test prep options. So, Tracy, we have found over the last year when we really started going at stack testing that it's really effective for many of our families. Can you kind of share with people what stack testing is?
Sure. Thanks, Lisa. Stack testing is a great opportunity for students to test in back-to-back test cycles. So a back-to-back test cycle would be, for example, a June or July test date. Those tests are separated only by 5 weeks. So a stack test cycle would be those June and July test dates. Other test dates might be a December test date with a state test right afterwards. So a December, February would be a stack testing timeline. The benefits of stack testing are that students often retain a lot of knowledge if they're in a stack testing cycle for two test attempts in a row. And then it leads to them having to test fewer times. So we have found great benefits for students with stack testing.
Well, I think too, you've seen that, once kids kind of get in that weekly practice of they're tutoring or they're in a class or they're even independently practicing, maybe with like our ACT perfect practice program, that they're building that momentum and it just becomes part of their regular schedule. So I think we've seen too that it just kind of builds on that momentum. So the student has this can do attitude. I'm just going to keep going. And this might be that I'm finished sooner, right?
Correct. Absolutely. And then another one thing I want to point out with the momentum and the building on that momentum, a student might test in June and they are not going to have their test results back after that June test date to prepare for that July test. So with stack testing, you think that's okay. I don't need that June test date, those June test scores. I'm going to keep, like you said, building that momentum week after week. I'm going to keep tutoring immediately after that June test date, leading up to that July test date. So to retain that information that you need for that second test attempt.
Absolutely. So remember everybody, we're talking about two test dates, one right after the other, where the student keeps just going, builds on their momentum. So we chose to kind of drop in here at this point to discuss it because we've got a stack testing opportunity here in Ohio. Our students have been preparing for and are taking, actually today's the day, the first state Ohio ACT date for Ohio juniors. So we've got a lot of juniors on the day that we're recording this taking their state ACT. Others will take it March 14th or March 28th. And we know that the April ACT is just around the corner. Tracy, what's the date of the April ACT?
April 15th, Saturday.
Okay. So we're in another cycle where we've got this stacked testing opportunity where if students have been preparing for and ready to take the state ACT, they may just want to keep going and consider that Saturday, April 15th test date as well. And maybe they'll even be they'll hit their goal score and they'll be completely finished testing. So Tracy, like when do people have to decide if they want to do that April 15th date or not?
You can decide if now, right? So if we're looking at the stack testing option and your student's testing for the first time in February, I would just say go ahead and keep preparing for the April 15th test date, especially if your student's not involved in after school activities. Now's their downtime of the year. If they prepare for that April 15th test date, they're going to do fine. A lot of juniors are in AP classes, so you have AP testing in May. So also that's another benefit of testing April 15th is you might be finished with your second test date, your state test, and then April 15th, and you might be finished testing.
Just like clears the plate, right? It makes less overwhelm for the students later. Now, when does registration cut off on ACT side? So you're saying like you could decide right now you want to do this, but there will be a time that it's too late. What are those registration
Okay,
deadlines?
so let me look at my notes. The registration dates are by March 10th You can register by March 10th to get ready for the April 15th ACT. You can register all the way up to March 24th, but if you wait between the dates of March 11th and March 24th to register, then you're going to pay a late fee. But you can register all the way up to March 24th for that April 15th test date.
As far as that registration, real quick, I just wanted to interrupt you. I want to remind everybody that for the state ACT, your school registered you. So what Tracey's talking about with you can register, it's literally going to act.org and signing up to take that official Saturday ACT. You have to do it at act.org. If you don't want any late fees, as Tracey just said, you have to do it by Friday, March 10th. But if you are willing to pay the late fees, and lots of people do, it's okay because they might not find out about this till later, between March 11th and what'd you say, the 24th?
24th, yes, March 24th.
You can pay a slight bit more to be able to do that. Now, something special about April is it's one of 3 test information release dates. Do you want to say something about that as well?
Correct. So ACT offers 3 dates a year where you can pay for your test. You can get the copy of your test, and you can pay for your answers to all of your questions. This is a great benefit for students if they don't already have this information from another source. Okay. Another source would be LEAP. We do provide information about practice tests to you and your answers. If you don't have that, it's doing this through the ACT on a test information release date is a fantastic option. The cost is $32 if you select, I want my test results and I want my answers. If you select that ahead of time when you're registering for the test, it's $32. If you wait and you say, after you take the test, I want those results, then it's $40. But it's a perfect opportunity to see those answers to your questions. Why did you get a 25 on the ACT? Well, this is why. Here's your answers. You can also bring that information to LEAP. So if you're going to tutor with LEAP, you can bring your test and your answers to LEAP, and the tutors can help you identify why you got some of your questions wrong.
And just to be clear, you're not only getting a copy of like what you answered correctly and what you answered incorrectly, but you also get a copy of the actual test questions when you order the test information release. So we do use those regularly in tutoring. Tracey, I'd imagine that when you're meeting with families and helping them figure out their testing timeline and how many hours of tutoring they might need, or should they just do our DIY ACT Perfect Practice program, you can use that information as well, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a great resource. With ACT testing and test preparation, any answers and test results that you have is a great resource.
Data is our friend. We take a very data-driven approach. So just a reminder, stacked testing can work any time of year. We're entering into a state ACT or February ACT, which was early February, April 15th, 2 close test dates. The next ACT official test date is in June. And regardless of whether you're doing stack testing or not, we always think you need to have a plan and you need to follow that plan. So thanks, Tracey, for filling us in.
Thank you. No problem. And I'd look forward to talking to anybody who has questions about stack testing.
If you email info@leaprogram.com or call the office, Tracey is who you get to talk to. Thanks, Tracey.
Thank you.